We need to find this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here at 444 Spirit Way. Oh, turn!
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time.
The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
Oh my God!
That's a nice. We got to move it around a little bit, but that's a good opener.
I love the opening. Oh my gosh! Well, hi everybody. Hi
everyone.
James.
Hi Cal.
Hi everybody. We have a change in our topic tonight, and so we're going to kind of go into this for everybody that's wanting to listen about Edgar Cayce. I promise we're going to do that on January 31st. But we had a situation over the weekend.
Life happened.
Life happened, and James.
My baby girl of 12, 13 years passed away. So I had to put her down Saturday morning at 10, and I haven't been the same since because she took a piece of my heart, and then it's not whole again. So I'm grieving. So we thought we'd do a show instead of us canceling it. We'll do a show with on pet grieving and loss and of your animals. And because to me, that she was my family. I didn't have children. And I was always busy traveling, and she would always visit me in hotels. And
that's right. When you were traveling, she would.
Yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah, and we had a great
really special.
She was a very special angel, and how I found her was, so if you don't mind, everybody, we're going to do this memory to Maisie. That's her in the background here. I created a little memorial for her with her pictures. And we have a couple of things. I have some on my phone. We couldn't email that. I couldn't get them to set the email, but I'm going to show them to you from my phone. Over the course of the hour, I'll throw some photos in there for you. Yeah. Very special. As everyone's four-legged babies are special, but to me, she was my life because really through 2 divorces and no children and traveling, she was the constant. So it's a new world, as Kellee was about transformation. So we thought we'd dedicate tonight to her, and we bring in a special. Kellee has been a rock, and I will break down crying during the hours of warning everyone, but because it comes in waves, grief comes in waves. So I'm doing it live. And Kellee has been a rock all weekend for me, helping me. And another incredible angel on this earth, Samantha Curry, is an animal communicator. We had her before, and she has been a blessing. And I'd like to introduce her right now, please. Samantha, my other angel. There she is. There's my girl. Hi, Samantha.
Hi, Samantha. So welcome. So glad you're here with us today.
I am too.
Samantha's an animal communicator, and Samantha was with me before Maisie passed and afterwards, and it's really helped me a lot with that. So we wanted to share with all of you, and how I met Maisie. And we'll show you a painting of Maisie. Renee, you have a painting, I think, of her. We'll show everybody. And I'm gonna start crying again. So here we go.
It's good to cry, though. You know,
it's good to cry.
I love this picture.
Yeah, that was taking a long time. She was just a strange little creature, just her own person, very independent. She was a Jack Russell Dachshund mix, we found out.
Wow.
And she's always had trouble with her tail, and no one go by her behind. And one day I found out about, I looked at this card that I had. It was from this lady named Samantha Curry. I'm like, who is this animal communicator? This is many years ago. And I called up Samantha for a reading. And Samantha didn't know anything about where I lived, or she had a picture of Maisie. And really what happened was Samantha tuned in, and the next day she told me what she got. She said, it's very interesting, but your doggy likes the new house, but there are too many doors. And Samantha didn't know this. And I lived in Laguna Beach in a small house there, and then moved to San Diego in a bigger house with lots of doors. And you said, and she doesn't mind the black one, but she wants her own space. And at that time I had another doggy named Boo Boo, with black dog, and you got, and I mean, on and on and on. But one thing you said, she tells me that when she was a baby, she was in the litter, she was the runt, and she ran away. She got away, and she ended up in a construction zone, and very loud noises upset her, and it's true. And she goes, she doesn't like that. She never liked loud noises. And then you said she got caught in a drainage pipe, and the only way to get her out was pulling her tail. And that makes sense to why she was always like that. So thank you for that validation. And I want to thank you both for helping me over the weekend. And it is hard, but I know
it's
everyone
the hardest loss, James. It's such a difficult loss of a pet. The hardest readings I ever do, as I mentioned earlier, is when I have to do for children who have lost our animals.
Yeah, I
Definitely.
agree.
Yeah, and I think the biggest reason is because the animals, we touch them, they touch us, physical, body to body. And when that body to body loving, open love, and where we're cautious with people, we are not with animals. We get mushy, whoever's around it. So what?
It's so true.
So
Like
true.
like babies, right? It's like
Yeah,
babies too. It's like it's a law. It's an okay to do it with babies and
yeah,
doggies and kitties.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that body to body touch. And, I was just telling a client of mine whose kitty made that transition a month ago and she's unsettled about it. And I said to her, there's a thing in the Bible that says, ask and ye shall receive. Our soul isn't something we create after we die. Your soul vibrates at the same frequency. If you ask that when in a dream state, when you need that touch of that animal, ask before you go to sleep, I would like to spend time with my dog. I need to touch the fur. I need to run with this being. I need that. And I've had the experience, so I know you can. So, you know,
Wow.
ask before you go to sleep. People out there, ask. Just ask if you wanna. Yeah. My phone.
Oh,
I'm
your phone doesn't stop ringing because of who you are. I'm just saying, she's
yeah,
pretty incredible. This being before us, everybody, is pretty
I'm
amazing.
putting a pillow over it, guys.
That's okay. And the three of us share a really love and technology, everybody. So you'll just know that.
Oh
I
my
was sending
gosh.
pictures where like, I didn't know how it's a different language to
It
us. It
is.
just is. It's
Yeah.
just,
It is a
but
different.
yeah, yeah, and you were able to tune into Maisie before she left, and then afterwards, and in a really nice, sweet, gentle way. And something you said,
Yes.
she likes the soft talk, which
Yeah.
really touched my heart because 3 months ago, Maisie was always her own person. You can't really hear Maisie. She's a Jack Russell
Right.
Terrier mix, and she didn't really let a lot of people near her. And for me, she one day just laid down, and I was able to pet her under her chin and under
Mhm.
her back and fur, and she loved that. It's as if she never had that nuzzling in her life, and she ate it
Mhm.
up. There she is,
There she
and
is.
she just there's your mama, and she just ate that up, and she wouldn't get out of bed till I finished nuzzling, both sides and her neck and back,
Oh,
and she really let herself enjoy that. And that would,
Mm.
and I used to talk to her that way, and that was the soft talk you're referring to.
soft talk. Yeah. And when they have an issue and you've seen towards the end where you're allowing that full cuddling and touching, then they've no unfinished business now.
Ah,
No unfinished business. You help her heal completely through that.
Well, I
And
felt her, when she went
mm,
down, and for everybody, hope this helps everybody out there. That's what we're
yeah.
doing this. Um, uh, when she went down at 10 o'clock, and it was funny because auspicious, I guess, Kelly, for January the 8th,
Oh,
2020,
very
because I was
much.
really led intuitively when to do this because it's been a hard couple of months, and I tried everything, and she's not she had a diabetes and she had her shots. Like, no, she did not want that, and I had to honor and respect that. So I said to her before she went, and when she was in her beddy in there, they were going to put her down. I said, just make sure you do this for me when it's my turn, please. And then they took her back, and within 5-10 minutes, I told you guys that I was driving
Yeah.
I truck to nursery to see flowers to get light and happiness, and she was there jumping like a puppy all over me within like 5-10 minutes. And free, and it's an energy which is like, wow. I was like, wow. And she stayed like that 2 days. She's been in my space, that energy, I'm feeling it. And I said to Samantha, Kelly, and everybody, I said, she's not leaving me. And I guess she will in her own time, but she's going out. And you said, well, a couple of days, but she's exploring, which I know now she is. She feels safe enough now to explore. So you
yeah,
got that.
I usually tell people, the first most important is when you're taking them is because they're not frightened of the process. They're frightened of you just leaving them and being abandoned there. And so
Mm,
if we talk about our ongoing relationship, and your life is about that ongoing relationship out of
Yeah,
body. It's
it's
normal
true.
for you.
Yeah.
And so that there's no fear then. And so right afterwards, she would automatically jump in the car with you and know, oh, this is a breeze. How
Yeah.
many sessions have you done with people,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That,
James,
And it's the same thing that happened with Lady Debbie Ford, if everyone knows
yeah.
pretty much. And her mother just passed, who I helped her over with. And she was someone who was aware of this work, and she was afraid at the end of her life. And she had asked me a couple of years before to help her pass at the time. And I did it totally through meditation, totally not being in that space, but did it on another level. And she passed like that. And the first thing she came back within 10 minutes, she said, "What was I so concerned about that body for? My God, why was I so obsessed about the body? It kept me in that space. I should have been free to go." And I said,
Mhm.
"Well, Debbie, you learn that now. It's a
Yeah.
process for everybody. It's that mental mindset of the human too."
Tell everybody, James, when you got into the car, what you felt with all those other dogs.
Oh, thanks, Kelly, for remembering.
Mm.
Right.
It's
I
such a
told
big
her this to
deal.
Samantha. It's a big deal. It was hold on, I have a little sip of wine here because he may it was on the way to the vet, one of the visits to the vet. They know me so well at this vet there. I mean, they think, "Hey, I should welcome back home." Because as a human, I believe you should try everything you can. If you're given an animal another life, whatever form that is,
Mhm.
you have to be the steward for that life. And I was crying my eyes out on bringing her there because I didn't want to go through the shots. I didn't want to, and I know I know her temperaments, I know her very well. And I just said the spirit world enemy, and this is people that watch us. I'm a medium, and even mediums, by the way,
Mm,
because we have to have the human experience, we also go through it.
yeah.
We go through it, even though we know better. We as humans have to go through the lessons as well. So I said, who's going to meet her and who's going to greet her? And I wasn't thinking straight, of course, in this fog. I pulled off the side of the road because there were all these dogs lapping my face, kissing me on all sides. All
Oh.
the different breeds of dogs just kissing
Me
me,
too.
which I can imagine when you pass over, that's going to be
Oh,
like, Samantha. And I've heard herds of animals, my dear. I can
Absolutely.
usher you in. But it was a thank you.
Mm.
It was a connection. It was a full roundedness to that experience of
Mm.
appreciation that we're all connected. It's okay, human. We
right.
got her.
That's
There's
good.
a comment here that really I think is interesting. This is from Barbara Kieran, and she said, "My Westie had to be put down, and I didn't stay with him. I can't forgive myself for not staying. That was 5 years ago, and I still cry and want his forgiveness." What do you say about that, Samantha?
What as I was saying a little bit earlier about the client who's unsettled,
Mhm.
one of the things when I do a reading for an animal that's made that transition, I want to know number one, why did the event happen the way it did? Because there's no accidents. Number two, what was that being evolve, refining in its nature, and how did the owner help that being to evolve?
Mm,
What was the subtle things? Because a lot of times we don't think about that. And when you know from the soul of the animal and it starts talking about its life and those experiences, and then I don't know what their house looks like. I don't know what the personalities are. And so I start giving all that information. It heals the people, it heals the relationship. They know why she wasn't there. What
Mhm.
was the reason? And so it's really important to not beat yourself up so much,
Right.
but ask your in her own meditation and prayer, just ask, please give me the answers that make me feel like I failed her in some way.
Mhm.
I need to know why I wasn't there. And she'll get it. She'll find out exactly what the reason. It might have been the body. An animal will move out of its body when you're not there a lot quicker. And the next thing
yeah,
you know, you feel them in your heart.
and humans too.
Yes.
Humans too. Yeah,
Yeah.
humans
Yeah.
too.
And they're, I mean, they physically get,
Mhm.
get on
Oh, that's what happened to me with Maisie. She was right in my heart. I mean, right there, right in that space. I
you.
also think, Samantha, because this goes along, Kelly, with this, I felt a little guilty about, well, did I do the right thing? Did I put her down? What was right? And anyone who puts an animal
Yeah.
down has to go through that. But I tuned into her and I just started sending out thoughts of my love. And I didn't want to go through the pain. And there was no easy way. And I tried to make it as comfortable. And she got it. It took a little bit, but she got it. She did get it,
Yes.
and there was confirmation back because she set up a sign with me right away. As soon as she came into the truck, I was looking my face, and that's her sign now. That I
Mm.
know she's with me. She looks my face, which is interesting because she would only do that in special times. So, yeah.
I had a client once that when I told her, I said, the thing that you need to say to your dog is, we're going to go to the vet. You're going to get a shot. You're going to get a little dizzy, go to sleep, and then you're getting in the car and come home with me, and keep it light. And that
You
ongoing.
told that to me. You told
Yeah.
that to me too. Yeah.
So
And I
she
did
said,
that. I did that.
yeah. So when she's in the car, her car, you know how you have a glove compartment, the little attachment on the dashboard. She says it's never in all about 10 or 15 years, never fallen open. The minute she got into the car, the glove compartment fell forward and she knew it was the dog. She knew that the dog had hit that. And she said you can even feel like cushion go down. And so, we it allows us to use our sensory system versus our eyesight.
I love that.
Our other parts of our nature that cry out to be used.
So true. Oh, it's so true. It really is so true.
Yeah. Just someday
Oh my
that.
goodness.
Yeah.
And James, you wrote an incredible
Oh,
poem. Would you want to read it? Do you feel like reading the
Sure,
poem?
Kelly. I was just thinking about that. Do you want me to read
You
that?
guys, it's amazing.
it is
It's
amazing.
amazing.
This is my dedication to my daughter, Maisie May, because I thought I had to somehow be able to bring in my elements of love that I felt for her, and
Yeah.
gracious gratitude that she shared her respect with me. I would do these shows, I would do this online stuff. She'd be by the desk for 2 hours having to pee. Wouldn't say a word. I know, but I knew. And we get up at the end of the session, and she said, "You want to go piddle?" And she went right out, and she just piddled for a good 5 minutes. And I knew that she just was respectful. That's what she was. So I wanted to give her something, a letter, and it's my letter to Maisie. I captured everything about her, I think. I looked over to see you tucked in your bed on the right, and then remembered you are not there, and I will be all alone tonight. I love your every look, every twinkle in your eyes. I will miss that now that I have to learn how to say goodbye. The morning would start with a lick or two to announce a brand new day. Hurry up and come along, your tail would always sway. You jumped down the hall with excitement and grace and ran out of the door to begin an entire new race. You raised your nose to smell the air and felt the warm sun gently touch your hair. The journey began with a dash or two to find the perfect tree so you could sit with a pleasant glee. You ran up the stairs and all around, exploring each crevice and space. Your muzzle mattered and colored with leaves as you showed your curious face. We walked together step by step, sharing the earthly ground, exploring and observing life with each and every sound. Now the summers are gone and I am left alone. So you've taken a piece of my heart and buried it like a bone. I still feel you next to me, sharing each step along the way, and can hardly wait for that glorious day when you come running toward me in your heavenly glow, as you guide us back to our heavenly home, where together we will eternally roam. Love, Dada.
Powerful.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
That's what I wrote.
Really, really beautiful.
Really powerful.
Yeah.
I got to wipe my eyes, guys.
I know. I know. I got to hear it earlier.
Oh.
Oh, honey, are you there? I don't know if there he is. No?
No, I think James by accident clicked himself away. So as soon as he joins the studio,
I
I'll add
know
him.
people are crying, and
Yeah, it's.
I know it was really beautiful. It
Yeah.
just
Touches the heart deeply. Heart.
It was that nice. I tried getting everything in there.
It was beautiful. I mean, I think you got everything in there. It's so touching, James. Everybody's loving this. You made everybody cry. Everybody's crying.
No, you should. Tears of joy that shows celebrating a life. I'm going to bring it to the Hay House and have them publish it, and just put it all around the world. And for everybody who loses an animal, because one thing I've learned from Maisie, and I teach now. She taught me, of course, is observation. Observe everything. When you look at the animal kingdom, they observe, don't they, Samantha? They're always observing. And if humans could do that, take the
Yeah.
time to pace and observe, they wouldn't jump into reaction. And they would see the fullness of every moment. And that's what she taught me, to observe.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and use all their senses, because they're visual, emotional, sensory beings. They feel it through their body, and
Yeah.
I think, oh my God, someday we'll teach about how to use all of our communication skills, so that
Yeah.
there isn't a separation between them, and us in our communication. We can feel, or give them the vision, give them the sensory, give them, all the things that they give to us.
Yeah.
So true. It's so true.
James, do you remember what Mavis said? Can you give that
Yes,
quote?
and I was looking up on my Facebook page, because there was we put the notice for Maisie and some photos, and we've had over, I don't know how many hundreds of thousands of comments. But thank you everybody for your comments about Maisie and about on the page. But Mavis Patilla, a good friend of mine, and from England, a medium in England, a well-known medium in England, said something to myself and my good friend Marilyn Wall, who's watching, another great medium in Australia, watching this. And she reminded me of what Mavis used to say about the animals who pass. Said they don't pass right away. They stay with you and make sure the master is taken care of before they move on.
Oh,
I know.
oh,
Oh, that still gets
And
to
that
me.
makes kind of sense, especially my situation.
Totally.
I've
yeah.
been experiencing it for 2 days, 3 days.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been feeling
Yeah.
that, and ushering her and helping her and saying, it's okay. I'm always here. I'm your campground. I'm the tent. I'll always be here. So you go explore and,
Yeah.
and help me. I'm just going to help me on my way. And we help other people. And, I think we're all in it together. We're so in it
Yeah.
together. It's amazing.
We are, or big time. Thank
Yeah.
heavens we have the animals to help us with our emotions, especially now. It just,
Oh,
yeah,
so true. It's such a difficult, and there's time, and there's so much trauma in the
yeah,
world right now.
yeah.
People that just tuned in, I'm sorry. We're not doing Edgar Cayce tonight because I lost my doggy. They just wrote it down. And so we're just doing a memorial for Maisie. But we will do Edgar Cayce in a few weeks, Kelly. Is it
Yeah, January
16th?
31st.
31st. And I've got some good Edgar Cayce stories with Edgar Cayce coming to me personally. So,
Yeah.
Oh,
Samantha, you'd be interested in that one.
wow,
Yes.
that's
I
great.
laid down on his couch, and I have a picture of that experience. It was like, wow. There was a
Boy,
lot of
would
white
I
light.
ask him some questions.
It was pretty amazing. It's all, I think that's, in life, when, like, I was telling Kelly this, I think Samantha, you and I mentioned it, because we're in such a COVID crazy time right now. When
Mhm.
something happens good, you're like, well, this is so weird. Something good
Right.
happened. This is just so bizarre. And it's just like, whoa. So I think when that wonderment of things happens, you feel good. And I think with animals, it's that wonderment. And I think
Yeah.
synchronistic experiences are that wonderment, that remembrance that everything is divinely in order, even though we don't see it that way. There is a divine order.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There's a divine truth to it.
Yeah.
And animals teach us that if we would just listen to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, my best teachers have been animals.
Yeah.
Really and truly.
Samantha, would you share with everybody a great story that I never can get tired of hearing about the San Diego Zoo and your experience with that? Because a lot of people here have not heard
Yeah.
the story.
Can
If
I
everybody that's watching this, she'll freak.
Before I talk about the elephant there, Maya is her name. I want to mention about my experience with Maisie talking about the peach. When I mentioned, and so you had,
Thanks for bringing that up.
I know here,
Oh.
she's talking about things that she loves and is acutely aware of. Now, I didn't know that they are at the time, James and Maisie are underneath this tree.
On my
And
property, Kelly, with a peach tree.
The peach tree.
the
She's
peach
talking to me, and
tree,
yeah.
the peach tree,
Unbelievable.
and she starts talking about this peach. And I said to him, I don't think she's eating peaches, but I know this is a peach. talking about peach. And I can't quite tell if it's about the color or what, but he says, well, we've been sitting underneath this peach tree. She's going to go to the bathroom under the peach tree.
And I have, Kelly, I have like a fruit orchard, and I have orange trees and lemons, and the peach tree, and it was right when you were tuning into her, right before, and Maisie kept on going around the bottom of the peach tree, around and around it, which I've never seen her do before, because she had all the places to go, and she just sat there and then she piddled, but she loved that peach tree. So when Samantha brought that up, it was like,
yeah, you know what I was thinking? I wonder if she's wanting her ashes put there.
Too late now. It's funny because people ask me, they say, well, what did you do with it? I said, well, you know what? To me, it doesn't matter because the spirit is free. That was just
right. Very, very true. I think it would put some little thing though that represents her,
like a little memorial stand.
Honey, I did more than that. I did better than that. You know
what
I did?
Yeah, what'd you do?
I created a park for her.
And
I have a picture in my garden, and it says Maisie's garden, and there's her photo. And I did that about a year ago because I wanted to make sure that she knew that that was there, and that was her garden. So I have a photo. It's called Maisie's garden, and it's only going to be positive, loving flowers and beautiful smelling objects and lizards and stuff that she loved.
You know what? That would be an incredible title for a book regarding animals that have made that return. Maisie's garden.
Maisie's garden.
Opening up.
I think, Samantha, I think we mentioned this too, and Kelly, I told this to you, but there's an innate feeling within my soul, which everybody, of course, can go into your soul and feel innate feelings if you take the time. But there's an innate feeling of several different things when this experience happened. That she was happy, she was free, that she's not sure yet where but she's with me, and I'm helping her. I know I have to help her along, so that's happening on higher levels. And I just got this sense so strong that she had to go at this time because new things are happening. And she wanted to help me on those planes and those levels to bring in some new stuff. And I knew that she felt that physically she couldn't do that. She had to go to the higher levels or whatever, certain realms, and bring it back. And that she spent time with me, she was able to integrate it with the human part of me and the higher self. And I was like, wow, that's a trip. And that goes hand in hand with what Kelly was mentioning about this new 2022, the new.
Yeah, this 2022 is all about transformation from the old Saturn ways to the new, the Uranus ways. So things will be new technology, new ways to think, more spirituality. I'm believing that she will be a guide for you, James.
Oh, 110%. I already know it. She said she won't go till I'm ready. We'll be there quite a while because I'll be, when I go, you'll be there. But I feel like she's helping to bring usher in more of that energy for me to work with.
Yep.
And I do get a sense, and you too, I don't know if you two do, I'm sure you must, being the sensitive you are, that sometimes you think this is just overwhelming, that I'm not, this is just this dense vibration. It's tough, but I gotta do my mission. It's
you
great.
You have to do your mission, which is what I always say. It's incredible.
Changes lives, but it gets tiring.
It gets tiring, and when you lose a beloved pet, it is immediately overwhelming, James. Immediately overwhelm comes.
Exhausting.
That's the first thing that comes. And that's really where you are in that stage.
And I wrote a book years ago called Healing Grief in 1998, and I was reading it. It's a great book, and there's a book called The Rainbow Bridge, which is there, but there's also, which I found really interesting. I wrote down these. It's interesting. I read the book in a long time, but it's grieving for a pet is here, and euthanasia I talk about, which wow. Were you demonstrating an act of kindness because the animal is in pain or the quality of its life would be compromised? Every individual who owns an animal will have to go deep within his or her heart to feel what is right for the animal. Remember, the animal has a soul, and its soul can never be harmed. Is euthanasia a painful process? I'm not a professional veterinarian, so one should check with their appropriate source. In research chapter, the veterinarians that contact informed me that euthanasia is not a painful process, which of course we know it isn't. So this is one of my healing guidelines I wrote. I want to share with everybody and myself to remember.
Yeah, absolutely.
Number one, healing yourself. Allow yourself to go through the complete grieving process. I totally believe it. Do not deny your feelings. You have lost a significant partner in your life, and this is your time to express your emotions. Crying is normal. And
Bond.
sharing your feelings with family members, be aware of your children's feelings as well. Say goodbye to your pet. Perhaps you want a memorial service. It could be a simple lighting of a candle or a prayer, or it could be more elaborate, like this was going on, or writing poems or having pictures, their toys, etc. Do what works best for you and your family. As with any grieving, it is important to have some sort of closure. Really important, you
Yes.
think,
Yeah.
guys.
It is.
Yeah.
Inform if you have children around you, inform your child, help your children by listening to and encouraging their feelings about the animal. Never inhibit a child's feelings or force him or her to go over it. If your children are very young, have them draw pictures about how they feel and encourage them to discuss all the characteristics that they love their pet. Establish new daily routines, which I'll be having to do while you are grieving, and I haven't really yet. I still take her on walks in the morning. Different place, different routine. That could even include changing the furniture around your house. This is a good one. Dedicate something in your pet's name to any organization, such as having a tree, a rose bush planted in their memory. So make a list of all the wonderful attributes your pet had.
Ooh.
Right? What has I'm gonna cry, right? It's a good one.
Yeah.
What has this loving companion taught you about life and about yourself?
Oh,
How has your life changed because of your pet?
yeah. How would you say your life has changed because of
Oh,
Maisie?
Kelly, I mean, I just there's such an appreciation in a way that I never expected about life in general, and it's this weird thing because the work I do as a medium, we always deal with expansive realms and realizations, but she, in her patient, simple way and very calm way, showed me that there's an expansiveness of being that I never expected, just by her patience and her calmness. And I remember I've been in observation mode, and I've been through some ups and downs emotional in my life as everyone else has. But I went through a divorce and the end of my 50s, my 60s, and all.
Mm.
And it was a traumatic time. But she was always steadfast. She taught me about being stable, being grounded, but being very observant, and also being your own person, not take any shit from anybody because she never did. Don't
Yep.
come here if I don't welcome you into my space, right?
Right.
And we learn a lot. So it helps me to help others. It helps me, like
Yeah.
you and Samantha, we teach others from our own experiences.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
One of the beautiful things she had said, as you're talking about her, what she loved, enormous respect and love towards you was the fact that you didn't demand her to change her
Yeah.
personality.
Oh, I love that.
She wanted to pull back and need her space and feel just safe and nobody touched me here. You honored that, and
I
she
did.
made a big, huge thing when talking about that, how important that was in her healing of herself, that you didn't demand it. You didn't force her at all, and that was huge,
You
huge.
did say that. Yeah, and that's very, very true. It's really, really true. When I would come to the house, I'd say, she's okay. She'll calm down. I'd say, I call her mama. Mama, just be
Yeah.
nice to them. They're nice, be nice. And then she'd tail. But she was always very conscious of it because, her background traumatization as a baby, as a puppy.
Yep.
She was traumatized so much. And that was ingrained in her. So I wanted to give her a space from day one that she felt safe, that she could just be herself and express who you are.
I have to read this comment. Barbara Blackwood wrote, "Until you've loved an animal, a part of your soul has not been touched."
No, I agree with that. I agree with
Completely.
that.
Completely. Thank you, Barbara. That was great.
Thank you, Barbara. That's a good healing.
That is.
Yeah, it's so true.
Mm.
They help you touch.
It's funny. Someone just talked about getting a dog. The funny thing is, people say, of course, the first thing they'll say is, "Are you going to get another one? Should you get another one?" I'm like, well, I don't know yet. It's been, you're put in this fog land, as we all know in
Yeah.
grief.
Yeah.
You're put in such a fog land,
Mhm.
and I just get a sense that I know there are two dogs coming my way. I know they're there, and I just said I'm not going to go look for them. And just like I found Maisie, because I found Maisie after I don't know if everyone knows the story. But I found Maisie after I watched a puppy get killed in downtown San Diego years and years
Remember
ago.
that.
There was a four-way stop sign, and that's what place today in my soul care. How I met her, Samantha. I don't know if you know this story. I was with a friend Sunday morning. It was downtown San Diego, and we stopped at a four-way stop sign, and we're on our way to Starbucks. And as if I was out of my head, like 5 minutes before, or a couple of minutes before, I saw this happen like a film. It was a little puppy in the middle of the road and a Volvo right on top of the stomach of this dog.
Oh.
And I remember, then it happened right next to me. A Volvo pulls up, and this little girl's puppy. She has no leash on this dog puppy, which pissed me off. It runs right in the center of the road, and this Volvo goes right on top. And I'm like, no. So I ran out of my car, and I bent down, and I'm trying. This dog is withering, looking at me like on his back and his paws up. And I'm trying to change time. I'm trying to halt time or reverse time in some way. I don't know where I was, but I was just trying to do that, to make that happen.
Mhm.
And then I finally got back into my body, and I realized, if they hit the dog, they'll hit me. So I got to get up. So I got up, and I found a parking space way down the street. And by the time I got back, there was a policewoman holding the dog, and that little girl said, "I just want to say goodbye." And I'm like, oh. And the policewoman looked at me, she goes, no. So that trauma stayed with me for a good 2 or 3 weeks. And I remember I had a dream, and the dream, whether it was I don't remember if it was a guide, it was someone said something that you have to go to the shelter because there's a dog that's going to heal you. It's like, okay. So I went down to the shelter in San Juan Capistrano, right near Laguna where I lived, and I looked at all the kennels, and none of those dogs spoke to me, not one. And I went back in the lobby. I was really pissed and angry. I said, Spirit, you told me that I would find a dog. Why could you do this? And then I look over, and the last kennel, Maisie comes out. This white dog comes out far away. Stares and looks at me. Stares and looks at me. And I went over to that kennel, and she rolls on her back and puts her tummy up like that dog that died did. Okay? And I knew that was her. I brought her home, and I didn't know what to name her. And I went a couple of weeks not knowing sure what to name her, and swear to God, in my office in Laguna, a lady appeared. It was my great aunt who I'd never met. It was an objective clairvoyant experience, and she was 1930s gray dress, buttons with a collar down. And she said, her name is Maisie May. I'm like, Maisie May? That's such an old-fashioned name. She goes, that's her name. And this lady disappeared. Fierce Irish lady. So Maisie she was out in the deck. They had an office like that little outside deck. And just for the hell of it, I screamed, Maisie May. She comes in, hops on my lap, and gives me a kiss.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That was,
And that was it.
that was it. The rest of this history, as I say. Yeah.
They take aim at your heart and they just shoot. And that's it.
They
You're
just
done.
go there. They just go there.
Huh.
They just get right in there.
Wow. What a great story. Wow. Yes, you and Maisie were very blessed to have found each other.
Yeah, we were. And it's funny, in that process, as a dog groomer, I go through a lot of grieving with my dog friends. Oh, thank you, Joanne. Definitely. It's a very interesting an experience of losing Maisie, and maybe a lot of people do this with the humans. But there was a part, I told you there were several things that came out of it, and one of the things also that came out of it, which I was either told or reminded of. You did a good job, James. You did the best you could. You really did well with her. And I think, Samantha, you brought that up too in the reading, that she was happy with that. But I think people have to realize that, you did the best you could, and you got to honor yourself for going through the hard experience, because it's a tough one.
Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times the subtle little things we do are healing and helping that animal evolve. We think it's going to be some kind of big thing. No, it's usually those subtle, quiet, just everyday kind of thing that allows that growth and the healing of that animal to take place with each person, You
said something to me the other day, which was so amazingly interesting. You said, it's just part of helping the animal species to evolve. Can you talk more about that, the animal species to evolve?
Yeah, because each one, we think there's an aspect of our individual soul. And then, as we all know, there's an aspect of the larger aspect of our connection with God, or the world, global universe, soul aspect. And an animal, what's interesting about animals, they have this personality soul aspect. But then when they make that transition, what they've evolved goes to the total.
That's great.
So interesting.
Isn't that awesome?
Really awesome.
Yeah, very awesome.
Humans, that if enough humans are evolving, and then the whole, because I always wondered, okay, the thousand monkey thing, then how come we're experiencing what we're experiencing on the planet right now? And what is it about, when we make that transition, our soul evolves, but I'm evolving more and more of the light of the totality. You know what I mean? Not
Yeah.
only my soul evolves, but also God's soul evolves.
You know, Samantha, what I try doing, like what you say, those words that you say, I
Mhm.
every once in a while when I'm walking around the garden, I'll envision, and I'll just for natural because of what you said, because it just feels natural to bring my power up, let's just say, my energy, my soul energy, and bring it up almost like a flame and light the universe and send that to the universe to expand, sending just loving energy out. Is exactly I think it's what you're
Yeah.
saying. And
Yeah.
I sometimes do that way, and I think that's what I'm doing. Is
I think I'm going to join you on that one.
yes, it's pretty good. The
I
flame
will
gets
too.
Yeah, because I can see that there's more help that's needed on the planet, but how do we do that as a human species? How do we? I was thinking, okay, my personality has to keep control of this, or not so much control. Don't allow myself to go into that. Join the group. When
Right.
they're fearful.
Become one of us, right?
Yeah. So you think, okay, but how do we expand that? How do we expand our love that affects the totality, the bigger picture, the bigger picture?
Let me share something which just came into my head, if you don't mind, because it's kind of things that come into my head when I'm grieving. So everything is energy. So if people say, right now we're really in a really hard time, a difficult time, like we do with the COVID, negative thinking and politics, and I think, well, all we are is love. We are pure love. We're energy of love. We're not the body. We're just love. So if we could take a couple of seconds and remind people about that love or share it, that could on another level, a higher level, energetic level, they'll get it. So I'm just thinking as you're talking, driving down my street, and maybe it's a four-way lane, street, whatever, with shopping malls and maybe some trees. Imagine the prana, the life force in those trees and the rocks. I mean, bombarding like a matrix, all the people with love. Do it that way for a couple of seconds. And I don't know, on some level, it's almost like they'll get that source. They'll remember the source. We can bombard them with love.
Right.
Everyone's open to love. I mean, just try to send out that energy, change and shift the energy whenever you think about it. I do it all the time when I'm in a parking lot. I just pull up in a car and I go down, people walking out of the cars. I just send love everywhere.
I'm going to do that.
And whether it has an effect or not, I don't know, but the intention is there.
Well, as Betty Scott says, each person giving love and light to others raises the vibration and goes out to all.
100%.
Yes.
Although that's limited to 100.
Oh, I love this. Gina Babina says, let's make love as contagious as COVID.
Oh, that's great.
That's perfect.
Hey, Samantha, you have to still share your San Diego Zoo story.
Oh, yeah.
It's just an amazing animal experience.
Yeah, Maya. So I was asked to go and work with first I worked with Cebu at the Wild Animal Park, and then San Diego Zoo found out.
Excuse me, let me interrupt. Before that, when she was just a little house lady.
Yep, I was.
The kids would bring the dog to her and say, "You can speak to this dog, right?" Isn't that what you told me? That's how you got into
kids that snuck the animals to have me work so that the parents wouldn't take their dog to the pound for barking. That's how it started. And so, and then the San Diego Zoo found out what I was, not so much that part, but they knew I had worked with Cebu, a big, huge African elephant at the Wild Animal Park. And they wanted me to come down and work with their Asian elephant, Maya. And so when I got there and I'm talking to her, I'm standing beside her and I have my head rested up against her. And she knew that I was, when you're saying a personal prayer, connecting with an animal, especially that size, I'm always uncomfortable with people at that time in my life watching. And she took her trunk and knew that I was having a little problem. And she literally took her trunk and wrapped it around me as if she's trying to shelter me as I'm saying my prayer with her. So she's talking to me, and I'm giving information, and the keepers are standing fairly close. And all of a sudden, that conversation just kind of goes flat. And I think she's finished. And I rudely walk away. I walk away, I see a baby elephant on the other side, and I want to go talk with her. And I really do think that the conversation, because there's nothing. And so I tell them, I think she's finished. I don't think she wants to talk about the bad stuff in her past. And so I go over to, there's a what they call a bridge with a 15-foot drop and no side rails, and it's thin. And I'm walking across that to where the play area is. And I get over to the play area, and I'm starting to communicate with a baby. And all of a sudden, she's followed me, and I didn't know she was following me. She takes her big leg and hits me on the side of my calf, gets my attention. The keepers come rushing in. Then she hits me one more time. Not enough to knock me down, but it startles me. And I turn around and I look at her, and I'm stunned that she's done this. And they're saying, the keepers are telling me, get back, get back. And I said, no, she doesn't want to hurt me. She wants to talk about something. There's something really profound that she needs to communicate. It's really important. And so all of a sudden, as I'm having a dialogue with the keepers, they're watching me and watching her. She's taking her trunk, swinging it out in front of her, lifts her right leg, and then goes down on the knee. And then the next thing, she swings that trunk back underneath her, between her front legs, goes down on the other knee. And now she's bowed before me. Her head is all the way down on the ground. I stretch my arms out as far as I can and lean on her. She takes me to a place that we as a human species haven't gotten to, about forgiveness. I am like shocked when she has told me that I rudely walked away. And I like go to a place in my soul and my personality that is so shocked that I did this. And I'm, telling her I'm so sorry. Her forgiveness wraps me, my consciousness, and takes me to this place where there's not even an inkling of anger or anything that's attached to it. Her love and acceptance of my apology was unbelievable. And I'm crying. I can feel my tears going with her, dirt from her body all over my lips and dripping down. And I'm just in this space with her. And I can hear the keepers in the background. What is she doing? What is she doing? What is she doing? And she's never done this before. And I turn my head as if I'm in an altered space in a dance with her. And I say, in a minute, I'll tell you what she's talking about, because it's kind of like you're in a dream. You're not fully here and you're not fully there. And so when she just for the feeling of forgiveness and love and acceptance, if we could get to that place as a human species, I don't think we'd have the problems that we do. Then I step back, and she slowly dances and gets herself back up. And I ask her, what is it that you want to talk about? And she tells me, my foot. She's got 10 ton of weight on the bottoms of her feet that have huge cracks. And I asked her to take her big foot and put it on this. There was a log. She sets her foot on the log so we could see the bottom. And I show the keepers what the problem is. And so I'm saying to the keepers, she is talking about the pain. Is there anything you can do? And they said, well, I don't know if the vet can, And I said, well, if they can't, then this is what I want you to do. I want you to think about how much you love this being and let it flow through your hands. Place your hands on her body and on her leg and see the energy of love going into those cracks, at least removing the pain factor as you so. And so each time when they'd be washing her body down, they would be doing this. So here's these big guys that thought I was, this lady's full of crap, and they expected nothing to happen. And they said, can we put our hands on her and try this? And I said, definitely. And she's looking at them and they're looking at her for the first time, seeing this being that is so profound they've been taking care of and didn't understand her. And so it was the most profound gift that I've ever had, really and truly.
Wow.
Another species.
Oh,
Maya.
wow.
And that was the beginning, because then you went on to
Then it went on the wire.
Then they went on to the elephant. That they called you up because they were having trouble with their elephants, and you went down and you asked them, did a calf recently pass or something? They said, yeah. They said, do you have any remaining skeletal parts? Right.
Yeah, that was the story. That's Sabu, and Sabu's an female African elephant, and her close friend died, and she got sick. And what they did was they separated, which they shouldn't do, separated the elephant from the sick elephant. And they couldn't get to her. They couldn't touch her in the process of. And so years passed and they kept the skull. And so I went to work with Sabu. And she, she tells me about this event, and I start talking about the skull and the death and how they separated. And so the keeper says to me, well, we still have.
No, Samantha, you got to give yourself an honor. Samantha, did you lose an elephant? Yes. And do you still have the part of that elephant? Well, yes, we do. So continue.
That's true. And so I made a contract. She would allow, because she wouldn't she's a head elephant, and each of them would line up to go into the sleeping quarters. And because she was so angry, she didn't want to mind anybody. And if you don't have your head elephant minding, these guys are huge. Whoever stood by a huge African elephant. Asian elephants are big, but an African elephant makes an Asian elephant look pretty small.
Wow.
So we had a contract. I asked them to bring the skull in so that they could grieve and do their grieving process.
That's amazing.
With that skull. And in exchange for bringing the skull, Sabu said, we need oranges. And I felt like I'm in two different species, and I'm looking at her and then looking at the keeper. Well, she wants oranges. They need oranges. And then I would go back and say, what else do you need? And then she would tell me, give me a vision of the piece of fruit or whatever it is. And I would turn and so we made this contract. And in exchange for bringing the skull back, and that she would line up and let the baby elephant touch her tail because she was sensitive about it. And then they would line up and go into the garage. That was the contract we did. Isn't that a trip?
Wow.
A trip. And you said they also broke apart of the skull on their own and buried pieces on their own space. They took one piece and went off on their own and buried it, right?
And they let out a cry when they saw that skull. They let out a huge, huge, huge sound, all of them. They lined up and they literally had their funeral. Something that, you talked about having closure. Yeah. And then they each had a piece of that. And that's said that many elephants will find and carry a piece of their family member for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah. I just think in terms, someday this will be the norm where we're communicating and finding out what each being and species needs.
People like you that help this happen, so help this materialize into the putting the word out and getting the word out, people to speaking about it, to realizing it. The first step of healing is awareness, right? So we just make everybody aware that we're not the only ones. Humans are not. Hello, humans. And we
Right.
have to respect everyone, every single person and every single being and the kingdoms on this world and on this earth, this three-dimensional world. There's so many kingdoms, from
Mhm,
fairies, gnomes, and animals, and so many
mhm,
different kingdoms. I think we have to respect all the kingdoms. And
And
mhm.
it's something interesting, James, in homeopathy, elephant homeopathy, elephant remedy is one of the most sensitive ones out there. And so when I see somebody who's is on elephant remedy, I know it's because they're extremely sensitive. And you really just brought home that deep sensitive piece here
Mhm.
of elephants and of all animals, really.
yeah,
I think the elephants are just they're, they touch my heart in a way.
It's profound, yeah.
It is, and they're such huge teachers. I would like to see someone do a study and film the way in which different species grieve
mm,
and do their honoring of that soul so that we
Yeah.
can see that each of us does that. Just recently, my brother-in-law made that transition the same day Maisie did.
Oh,
wow,
Um,
sorry.
he was 91 and pretty awesome, and he always encouraged me regarding my writing of the working on the book and stuff, and one of the things I loved about Gil and Bessie, was that Gil was Jewish, Bessie was Buddhist, and they were also Christian, and so on the holidays, they honored all of the different ways,
it's
Yeah,
great.
it's great.
not only with food, but, ceremony.
Mhm.
And so when I talked to Lori, they had 5 kids. And so Gil's in the hospital. And so Lori was telling me, she's in Florida, so they FaceTime. 2 of the kids FaceTimed, and their dad's on a ventilator. They brought his breakfast in, his music that he loves. They brought in the game that they played every single night. And then the kids would sit there and play as he's making that transition. And they took the tube off. They're playing the game they played every single night.
Wow.
They brought his, as I said, the food he loved, the music he loved,
How,
and the family there.
how
And
great.
the family
Yeah.
there.
How great.
What else would you want? That's it. That's the
I
way to
know.
go.
I
Yeah.
just, my heart felt like, oh my God, how awesome. Here, if I was making my transition, that's what I would want.
Right.
And they're inside the hospital
Mm.
and they don't, it's like, oh, there's a problem. Well, we're going to still bring it in. We're
We're
bringing
celebrating your life, and you go when you want to go. Yeah, that's where I'd like to go. Yeah, I think everybody should go it that way. It's
Yeah,
great, wonderful.
Yeah.
91.
yeah.
Wow. That's
A lot of
amazing.
transformations this year,
Oh,
2022.
there's so many.
So
Yeah.
many, so many bad
So
things.
wait,
So many-
actually, James and I were on the phone yesterday, and James said to me, there's going to be a lot more people leaving. We hung up the conversation, and 1 minute later, I looked down and Bob Saget had died.
Oh, I
Yeah.
And
know
I
very well,
called
Bob.
James, and he
I'm
said,
telling
I
you.
know. I knew him, and James knew him. And we, I
Wow.
said, you just said this 30 seconds ago. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of that. So,
Lots of movement.
gosh,
Yeah.
a lot of
Samantha, I want to thank. I know what time is up, so
yeah.
thank you very, very much again.
Thank you.
Heart thanks, and Kelly, heart thanks to you.
Oh my gosh. And Samantha, how can people reach you?
My website or
Okay.
email me. My
Yeah.
website is my name, samanthacurry.com. And my email is sjcurry@yahoo.com.
Well, the website they'll do that. That's and you do readings, do sessions with people, or
Yep. I'm still doing readings and then working. I think we just got some, where if person has problem with their cats barking or their cat or their dog or something, we're
that'd
just
be a problem. If the cat was barking. That would be a
yeah.
problem.
Well, I have to say,
I mean,
Samantha,
that may be okay, but barking you.
Samantha, you really helped me with Otis. When we first got Otis, you were really great. You really helped me with Otis. I mean, we had a big problem with him, and you walked me right through him, talked to him. It was a great session.
Yeah.
Excellent session.
And the funny thing is, you see through their eyes. So when you talk about clairvoyantly, you'll see like, oh, well, there's the green rug. Oh, there's the box, and there's that rug. Yeah, and it's exactly as it is, but you see it through their eyes, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I become the animal. I do. I love being be able to do that. I give both of you a big, huge, gigantic
Oh.
hug and
sweetheart.
Lots of love to you, Samantha, really. And to you, James. Oh, and
Thanks,
to you,
Kellee.
Maisie May.
yeah.
Thanks, Maisie. We love you, Maisie.
We love
Thank
you.
Maisie. I feel better, you guys. Thank you. Thank you.
you.
Thanks, Renee.
Bye
Bye.
bye.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.